Hello folks, and welcome to the first section of Project Charlie Part 3. Now you've seen in the last part that we did actually get it running. Dead good, well pleased. But then I went to try and fit the airbox, to which the first part is this aluminum tray containing the velocity stacks. And I came across a problemage because, as you can see, hopefully you can see, it's not been stored very well, and the velocity stacks have been deformed and they are never going to seat correctly. So what I've got is I've got two out at the moment. I'm just warming up the aqua jiggler flatulence, and I'm just warming them up to 70 degrees. It's only at 27 at the minute. They don't really need cleaning, they're not dirty, so ignore the timerage because that's for the I'm literally just cooking them. It's at 27 degrees at the minute. Well, that's quite nice. I'd have a bath in it, but I'm just trying to soften them up enough, and 70 degrees will be enough that they should go back to their original shape, and hopefully they'll remain pliable. If not, I do have a new bottle of wintergreen oil with alcohol, and I will boil them up in that. Well, heat them right up, not necessarily boil, because what that does is the alcohol will draw the wintergreen oil into the rubber. And then of course when you take them out and you dry them off, just towel them down, the alcohol evaporates, but it leaves the oil behind in the rubber and it remains pliable. There is a fine point. If the rubber's too old and it's expanded or anything like that, it's no good. But you know, a lot of the times, especially with carb to body rubbers and shite like that, it does the job. So we'll see. Ooh, yes, lovely. So I have put the bottoms of the snorkels, whatever you want to call them, I suppose they're a velocity stack, yes. I've put it in wintergreen oil and put it in hot water, and they have recovered their shape very well actually. But what I need to do before I mount them to the bike is I need to obviously flip this over and just paint mark an alignment on each one where there should be, because when we offer this up to the carbs, these are going to move because they do spin, look, and if we've got to be careful not to block any of these holes up. Yeah, so wintergreen oil, smelling lovely. I did have to buy some hardware. I've had to buy a bag of little bolts to bolt this on, because there's a lot of fasteners actually missing from this bike, and I've bought some swanky new fasteners to bolt this onto the carb tinkles as well. They're very, very nice. So yes, we'll see how we get on. I am suspecting that the carbs will have to come off, because even with the airbox on and all that lot, there is no way it should be revving to 4,000. What could possibly be happening is, obviously I'm only putting a little bit of fuel in, and as it's running leaner, it will raise the revs as the mixture changes. Conversely to that, there may well be an air leak on one of the cylinder head to carburetor boots. It's very, very common on these because of their age. It could even be that, but I'm still tempted to take the carbs off and bench sync them so I know they're right before they go on. And there is a knack to taking them off the V4, which I will show you if I do it. So anyway, it's a few days later from that other bit, and I'm going to fit the metal this bit onto the carbs, put the airbox back together, and just see how it runs, because it shouldn't be idling at 4,000 RPM. The only other I'm convinced the carbs haven't been set up. I'm almost convinced, and I'm pretty sure that the customer at the bike shop, whoever the previous owner was, did get billed for it. Let me have a look. Right, what we got? Actually, what date was it done? Let's have a look, because I mean it might not even be that recent. Not in a good mood today. I was going to go out for a ride, but I can't be arsed with people. I miss having somewhere to go. Right. Oh, okay. Near enough a year ago, the 17th of the 12th, 22. And, right, labour, carb clean, 55 quid. 3 hours labour they charged. Doesn't say whether they used any parts, but they were charging £20 an hour. And oh no, that's wrong. I can't make head and tails of this. Labour, carb clean, quantity 3, so that's going to be hours, I'm guessing. VC 20 standard rate, I'm guessing that's their standard hourly rate. Unit price 55 quid. Well, they've charged 165 quid to clean carbs, which is fucking astronomical. Another one, the brake strip. Apparently it had a brake strip and rebuild. We'll come on to that later. Again, £20 standard rate, quantity 2, £55. So I don't know whether they're charging £55 an hour or God knows what. It doesn't make any fucking sense at all. But that was 110 quid. So the labour total just for doing those two jobs was 275 quid. I'm in the wrong fucking job. Because that is, yes, carbs do take time to do, but it shouldn't cost 165 quid to strip and clean carbs. No fucking way. Christ, I could make a living just stripping and cleaning carbs quite happily. Again, yes, brakes can be troublesome, you can get pistons sticking and all this lot, but it's nothing a powerful airline, a bit of heat and a bit of noggin cures. Right, so what parts have we got? Right, seal, dust seal, 4, it's got to be for the brakes, 18 quid. Piston seals, 4, £30, that's about right. Boot pin bush, Nissin, they're the sliding pin, the little rubber bushes that go on the sliding pins. Yeah, 8 quid, 11 quid. A battery, so bear in mind that battery's a year old and it's already completely effing dead, won't even take a charge. And it's a UARSA as well, which are normally good. What was that, £39? Yeah, well, that's about right. Carburettor kit, now I'm taking this as a rebuild kit. 4 of £28 each, it's about right. 112 quid. So the evidence is there in the bill that they did buy the kits and stuff like that. Let's give myself a bit of room. Right, bleed nipple cover, that's a little rubbery thing. Yeah. Bleed nipples. Trying to cheer myself up, it's not really working. £6.90 for 2 bleed nipples. Yeah, that's about right. Brake pads, EBC, £21.09. That's a set. That was 40 quid. Throttle cable, pull. What gets me is if there is an issue with throttle cables, replace both of them, because if one has gone bad, the other one isn't far behind. So they've fit or supplied one throttle cable, but it isn't even attached. That was $12.69. That's about right. A cable repair kit for throttle and clutch. Why the cable? Why do you need a repair kit? The cables are readily available. David Silver Spares, Wamoto, whoever, you know, M&P, whatever. These are now popular bikes. They weren't years ago, but last year there was no excuse to just stick new cables on. A fucking cable repair kit. Who the fuck carries a cable repair kit? Nobody I know. Probably trial bikers or something, you know, green laners where you're going to be out in the middle of nowhere. But otherwise, no, I've never felt the need to carry one. Never. But maybe that's me that's missing out. A stainless caliper piston ×4, £18 each, 73 quid. Okay. Shipping costs. Recorded delivery. So they're charging the customer to have the things delivered to their bike shop. I don't get it. I don't get it. So Road and Race Performance Limited of Coventry. I might not be getting the full story here, but you sound like a bunch of cunts. Yeah, I will say that publicly, because from what I've seen on this bike so far, you've done none of the jobs listed. So yeah, a bunch of cowboys. Anyway, I'm going to switch off for a minute. I'm going to plonk that on there, and you've got it, a little bit of care. Still got cum in the back of my throat. A little bit of carefulling is required, because as you can see, the rubber intake trumpets, they can rotate. So I'm just going to offer that down gently first, because there are obviously airports and all that lot on there which we can't block off, and there are also holes for these thongs as well, and we've got nice new hardware. Yes, I'm sorry if the quality of this video is below par to a normal one, which is already tragic. I'm just really not feeling it today. Yes, we shall see. One feels quite lonely, and even though I've got great mates and all that lot, sometimes I just really don't want to people. So yeah, so I'm going to crack on with that. Well, it's going on all right, as you can see. I've still got to adjust that boot. That boot's lined up. These boots, I can't get any light in here to show you, but you see, you've got to keep those little brass things unblocked. So yes, we've still got 1, 2, 3, 4 fasteners to go, but we're adjusting these as we go, and then we're doing it gradually. But yeah, it's going on all right. Nice. There goes Uncle Barnyard. He's off to play with something. Yes. Anyway, airbox is on. Fuel line is rigged up and leaking, because I've explained the differences between the bores and I can't be asked to make up an adapter. Here's petrol on the floor. Forget about it. It's just petrol on the exhaust. It doesn't matter. Right. I have come to the conclusion. I'm not sure I can get the camera in and show you, but I want to show you the throttle wheel if you can see it. There. I've backed the idle adjuster all the way off, so it's not acting on the throttle plate at all, and this is what it's doing. Well, please start, don't make a fucker of me. So yes, the bike shop, if they did set the carburetors, no they didn't, you know, that's not just a general comment from the work I'm seeing that they've said they've done. They have not done. those carbs have to come off and be bench synced. There's no other way around it. Like I say, the throttle is as low as it will go. It's set as low as it will go. The throttle cable isn't even attached, so you can't even blame a tight throttle cable. But whoever set the butterflies up, it's idling at 4,000 revs. It should idle at about 1200. The Haynes manual that Uncle Steve bought does have a section for NC, what am I calling them? NC24 and 21 in the back. So you've got your idle speed, your oil capacities, what plugs should go in it, your valvulations and all this lot, and the idle speed, which is 1200. Well, last time I was at school, 4,000 wasn't 1200. But I'd sooner have 4,000 in the bank than 1,200. Yeah, dream on, Jim. So, yeah, it is unavoidable. Those carbs do have to come off. But I'm going to leave it there today because I am just not feeling it, dudes. I was curious and I wanted to put the airbox on to see whether it made a difference. And I thought I'd cracked it because when I first fired it up, it was idling at 1,200. Now, that doesn't suggest that anything stuck. Because the float bowls might not have been full, and as they filled and the bike were getting its proper quota of fuelage, obviously it's gone up. The only other theory is, and this is common on bikes this age, especially the V4s, that the cylinder to carburetor rubbers have a massive air leak. We can try that quickly with some starchy bastard. If I spray around the boots when the bike's running, if the RPMages increase, we have an air leak, because I haven't even checked to see if whether them boots are tight, because, you know, I'm just taking it as gospel that somebody knew what they were doing. Let's just piss a bit more fuel all over the engine. Well, it's a good degreaser. So let's crack her up. Noisy fucker. That's not making any difference. So as far as I'm aware, titties, titties. Enough of that, James. You know, when you get over being unwanted, I'm sure you can go on a tit fest. Right. So I don't think there's an air leak now between cylinder head. I know that was only a really quick check, but the effect is immediate if it is there. So yeah, carbs have got to come off, and like I say, I've not really got the inclination to do it today. I just cannot people today. I've got to sort of have a feeling sorry for myself day. So I'm going to leave it there, but we've got a little bit further. I now know which direction to go. Which is take the carbs off and do an Uncle Jimmy bench sync. I am going to double check that there is new kit in that carburetor. You'll soon tell when you set the float bowl off, and if it's not a new looking gasket, then that's something else to fleece the customer on. So we shall see. Sorry if this has been a bit of a negative video. I'm sure normal stupid service will be resumed soon. So anyway, look after yourself, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Thank you to my delicious Patreon. If anybody want to give me thousands of pounds for making shit content, please feel free to do so. Yes. Earlier on in the video, let me shut this door, I mentioned the brakes, how the customer was billed for a brake clean and rebuild. So I'm just firing up the aqua, getting it up to temperature, because basically the caliper's not cleaning. But I'm going to show you what a rebuilt caliper looks like from this bike shop. Now, there is a caveat to this. Something may have happened between them and the customer, so the work wasn't completed, or whatever. The fact remains they were still billed for the work, so keep that in mind. There may be a bigger story to this, but I've only got to go on is the receipt. basically, and the actions of the shop when confronted with trading standards, or the equivalent of. So let me go and get the calipers. One thing to note before I show you these calipers, and this is the route I'm going down in the head, is this bike still has its original rubber hoses and splitter. And what you can see, that's the original rubber hoses. Oh, hang on. So just bear that in mind. I'm only going on what evidence is presented to me. This bike still has its original rubber hoses. There is a set of calipers in there. You can probably see them. Hopefully not too closely, ruin the surprise. That I think Steve has sourced, and they already have some pretty decent looking braided hose attached. I'm now going to go back to the aqua juggler and show you these rebuilt calipers. Stay. Right, bear in mind I'm just going by the evidence I've got so far. Somebody was charged with a caliper clean and rebuild, and they were charged for a carburettor strip and clean, and the instructions on top of that invoice were clean up, set the carbs up, get it running, etc. The brake job was an extra. So they have been billed for that work. Now the calipers that Uncle Steve has sourced, they need a bloody good clean, but they look alright. I've only literally had a very quick look. But the other calipers that came with the bike were, I presume, the ones that the bike shop had took off. So I'm now going to present to you a stripped, cleaned and rebuilt caliper. Yeah, okay then. Really? That doesn't look like a new one. Anyway, that's just the one. Maybe I'm jumping the gun. Here's the other one. Yes. Yeah. Get off, you bugger. Oh, for fuck's sake. Yes. I haven't looked in the other parts box yet, but that ain't a new piston. That ain't a new boot. And I'm no expert, but could you tell me whether this is a new pad? Something must have gone on. But either way, we can't get around the fact that that customer's billed for the work. Okay? But basically this is a bag of detritus. There's the pins, the mounting bolts, the banjos, the original Honda pretty much plastic pistons which they've drilled fucking holes in. I'm going to have a look in that box to see what's in the box, but I don't understand it. There's a bit of this that I'm missing completely, because there's no other calipers with the bike, yet it still has its original rubber hoses, which would suggest that those are the original pistons, wanker, calipers. So what's gone off? What's gone off? You know, did the customer just go and retrieve the bike but agree to pay for the work that was billed? We don't know. I don't know the full story, but the credit card receipt on the bill is for the full amount, so something's gone off. So I don't know, maybe it'll come out of the woodwork eventually. It's not the best tasting soup. So the plot thickens. I've gone and had a look in the other box of bits, you could call it. It's very varied. There's even some stuff in there that isn't for this bike. But I did find one piston kit. You can't get a fucking bag. One piston kit okay, so they haven't bothered buying the seals, but we have got 2 new pistons, so that's good. Yeah. I mean, we know the story with that other bike shop. Basically, they billed a customer for doing work which they didn't do, and when Steve confronted them, miraculously the parts turned up. It's not for me to judge or say. I wasn't there, I don't know the story. Nipple covers, bleed nipples. So we do have some parts. There was also an empty piston box, but there are no pistons evident, at least they're not in that box. And we found a pair of brake pads. Interestingly enough, I've just seen another receipt from a local bike shop in Hinckley for brand new discs and pads. So something's gone off, something's gone on. That other shop quoted for supplying pads, and not even, well, literally months later, 3-4 months later, they're buying pads. Nobody gets through pads that quick. Something isn't adding up. Something isn't adding up. Maybe the other bike shop put the bike back together and pretended they'd done it, obviously bodged it, somebody got fed up and went to another bike shop. I don't know. I'm going to go and have a look at that other invoice. News update. You know, I've just said I've just seen another invoice for brake discs and pads and all this lot. Yet forget that. That was one of Uncle Steve's invoices for a vehicle he was doing for a customer, because I just scan read it and it was in the bike bits box. So yes, I think I found the other set of brake pads. So I mean, the calipers are stripped, so I'm wondering whether the customer rode the bike away, paid his bill, quite happy, you know, rode the bike away, the brakes acted up again, which on my NC24 I was stripping brakes, because I was commuting on it every day, I was stripping brakes every month, easily. It was common. So maybe he was commuting on the bike and the same thing happened and he stripped them down. But he must have then discovered, I'm assuming it's a he, just for the storytelling purposes, mate. He must have then discovered that it's still got the original pistons, they're not stainless steel and all this lot. So I wonder what went off between him and the bike shop. Because Uncle Steve retrieved these parts and still half the stuff isn't there, or at least I can't see it. Steve may have them, but we have got one set of pistons which are useless without the seals. There is no way I'm rebuilding a caliper that has not got new seals in it as well as new pistons. You've got to give it the best chance you can. New seals aren't much. Steve will watch this and he'll order them, won't you, Steve? So yeah, so that's the story of the brakes so far. I'm just waiting for the aqua jiggler to warm up. There's no point, I mean I can get it jiggling. It's very noisy, so we're going to leave that boiling. It's only just sort of coming up to temperature now. So yeah, we'll leave that boiling and we'll leave the brakes there as well. Button.